Welcome to the Final Score Network and the Final Score Podcast, presented by Team Anders Realtors. I'm Andy. He's former NCAA student athlete and co-host.
Ryan, Cam, two-hand monster flush off the inbound. Ryan, Cam, slam, jam. Oh boy.
Find the TFS pod and our playlists wherever you stream your podcast or music. Follow us on X at TheFinalScore35. Oh, and one more note before we get started.
I'd like to apologize to anyone I've not offended yet. Please be patient. I'll get to you shortly.
Welcome into episode 237 of the Final Score Podcast. We have finally reached week 0. NFL preseason is winding down. Only 1 week left. The Detroit Tigers up 6-0 as we speak. 8.5 game lead in the Central, back to a little bit more comfortable. Hopefully they can hang on to that and get the 1 or 2 spot in the AL. Keep playing good ball heading into October. Michigan State football, last scrimmage this past week. We told you last week we were going to do their preview this week. We're going to bump it to next week so we can designate some more time to it. We got Washington, Wisconsin this week, the 2 W's. Finally have an answer from the NCAA. We'll get to that here shortly. But I want to start with a quote. It's hard to beat the cheaters. Jim Harbaugh quoted in John U. Porkfat's book back in 2019 about Michigan football. Oh, Jim, you bastard.
He was right. It's hard to beat the cheaters.
Yeah, just
can't beat them, join them, right, Jimmy?
That's the news of the week that we've been waiting for. Just as Michigan State fans, as college football fans, as people that don't like the University of Michigan. The NCAA comes out on Thursday, says we're going to have a press conference tomorrow, we're going to release everything, blah, 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 blah. It comes out, everything starts leaking, 11:30 on Friday with Michigan's penalties, their slap on the wrist. I
believe they did it on Friday because Friday is the quietest PR day.
So
not enough time for anybody to react to it.
It wasn't a 6 p.m. dump.
Yeah.
But after a lot of investigation, this has started in late October 2023, right before they played us, when they gave Michigan State the option to not play Michigan for out of safety reasons, blah, 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 blah. And then Harbaugh was then suspended for 3 games. And then Michigan obviously wins that championship. A really good team. They had a lot of NFL guys, whatever, but they cheated their way to the top, to the title. And it's proven in this. I mean, I'm just going to go through these penalties. A fine equivalent to the anticipated loss of all postseason competition revenue sharing associated with 2025 and 2026 football seasons that could exceed $30 to $35 million. I'll start by saying that Dave Portnoy started laughing, smoking a cigar, saying, "I'll pay that gladly." So that's gone. 10-year show cause penalty for former head coach Jim Harbaugh. Newsflash, he wasn't coming back anyways. He won't answer anything about it. He said, "I'm not saying anything." 8-year show cause for Connor Stallings, who would employ this nut job anyways. Guarantee he's just going to try to get a job at IMG or something and funnel people to Michigan. Additional game suspension plus 2-year show cause penalty for head coach Sharon Moore. 4 years probation. Okay, let's rewind. Earlier,
weren't they already on probation for the cheeseburger scandal?
Yes, they're a multi-offender of NCAA rules. The COI is, I'm just going to jump to the end here. They're idiots. They're spineless. Michigan has the old adage from back in 2008 with the Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns, too big to fail. If you know anything about that, that was the big word back then. Oh, bank, too big to fail. Michigan, too big to fail. Too big of a brand to fail. Get back to Sharon Moore. This dude is a multi-offender with rules. He was suspended in 2023 for a game. He was under investigation. He deleted text messages and says, I didn't know." Then it eventually comes out on Friday that he did delete them because he thought he would be subpoenaed. That's lying. He lied to a court of law, so that's fantastic. He still gets to coach. He's suspended for 2 games this year. They picked them. It's whatever. Who is it? Central and
School of
Nebraska, which is stupid that it's. I just thought they'd do New Mexico and Central, but beside the point. But he has a show cause penalty. To me, a show cause penalty, whenever you hear that, is you can't coach Kelvin Sampson, Bruce Pearl, coaches like that were blacklisted from the NCAA for 8 to 10 years when they had their issue. He gets to keep coaching. He gets to keep his job. He gets to keep making money. He's suspended for their first game next year against Western Michigan. Ooh, scary. 3-year show cause penalty for former assistant Denard Robinson, probably for just being a terrible quarterback and not tying his shoes. A $50,000 fine plus 10% of the budget for the football program. A fine equivalent to the cost of 10% of the scholarships awarded in Michigan's football program for the 25-26 academic year. A 25% reduction in football official visits during the 25-26 season. 14-week prohibition on recruiting communication in the football program during the probation period. You think they're going to follow that? No. Not a chance. To me, shows that the NCAA is just an absolute waste of space. And, you'll read people actually, the blue wall is a real thing, folks. There are people actually in the media bashing them, saying their title's tainted, all this stuff, that they're a disgrace. And then there's some people saying, oh, it's nothing. I don't know why they're doing this. The NCAA, they were too harsh. They were just doing, it's not bad. I'm glad that there's closure and shows that they cheated, but good Lord. I mean, this is the arrogance that, we didn't do anything wrong. It still comes, and you still hear it over and over again. I don't even know what to think anymore. I mean, I hate him. Now I want to beat him even more, if that was even possible. But they did this for what? 3 years? Guys got hurt because of this. Other teams lost games because of this. For example, there's nothing about it. Tennessee proved that South Carolina knew all of their plays because Stallions gave them the plays. When they played them, Hendon Hooker tore his ACL in that game. Probably ruined his career because he sucks now in the NFL. He was on his way to maybe winning a Heisman Trophy. Michigan was scared to play them, so they gave them their plays so they could beat them, and they did. South Carolina beat them, upset them in 2022 when Tennessee was either number 1 or number 2. They were up there. There should be some sort of fine or court case over this. Guys getting hurt, guys Michigan hurt because they knew plays. It's honestly surprising there's nothing that's come out with that. And then Central Michigan, late news dump on a Sunday night. This came out about 11:30 last night. Central says that they hired Connor Stallions to be on their sideline for the Michigan State Central Michigan game in 2023 when he was playing dress up. Jim McElwain said he didn't know anything about it back in 2023. So he lied to lawyers. Most of their staff lied to lawyers saying they didn't know anything. They obviously knew. They say they hired him. And he said he was only doing work for Central Michigan. That's complete bullshit because obviously he was doing scouting for Michigan to play Michigan State with his Meta night sunglasses with camera in them. As you can see, a green dot on the side of them. Unbelievable, man. Actually, it is believable because these people are just they're asinine. They're absurd. They're ludicrous. You go. I'm done with it.
Well, look, I'll start off my part, which I wrote down, so I'm going to read that in a minute. This is exactly what we expected. And just from the part of the actual punishment, yeah, it's a lot of money, but money doesn't matter because 1 or 2 donors are going to cover that, Dave Portnoy or whoever. So check that box. That has no penalty. That means nothing to Michigan. They're not going to feel that pinch at all. Okay, so they can't, they have 14-week period where they can't scout. You don't think they can't recruit. You don't think they're going to find a way to do that? That means nothing. And I'll even go so far as to say, I didn't expect, nor do I care that they didn't have to vacate Windsor the national championship because here's the thing. They already won it, even if it's tainted, period, but nobody's going to go, oh yeah, that year was empty. It's just like Louisville in basketball in 2015 or 16 or whenever it was. Like, okay, there's no banner. Big freaking deal, right? So the only way that they could have really dropped the hammer was to make some of these coaches like Sharon Moore go away. These show causes, I get it, even though Harbaugh wasn't coming back anyway. That sends a message. The only other way, though, is postseason ban for the next 2 to 3 years. That would have been the most appropriate thing to do, but they wouldn't.
Someone's feelings.
They wouldn't do it because, well, it's not fair to the kids who play there now that weren't there. Tough. You know what?
They knew they were what they were walking into.
So you know what they do then? They go into the transfer portal like everybody else. So I'm going to start my lead into my podium with a special sponsor read. Today, my podium is brought to you by Mays and Misdemeanors, the official compliance handbook of Michigan football. Tired of pesky rules? Want to win big without the burden of ethics? With Mays and Misdemeanors, you'll learn how to scout opponents in person, just don't get caught. Delete evidence like a pro. And most importantly, how to lie to investigators with the confidence of a future NFL head coach. Order now and we'll throw in a bonus donor checkbook, perfect for covering fines with one smug signature. Because when you cheat with style, the NCAA calls it historic, not heinous. Mays and Misdemeanors, because integrity is for programs that don't win. Welcome to my podium, where today I'll call out the NCAA's selective justice system louder than a Michigan easy for me to say, louder than a Michigan fan yelling, "We're innocent," with a stolen playbook in hand. So let me get this straight. The NCAA just looked at the University of Michigan football program after a multi-year investigation with not one, not two, but 11 violations, 6 of them level 1. Their own report said, and I quote, Harbaugh ran a program that was largely dismissive of rules compliance. There was little, if any, emphasis on following the rules, end quote. That's not a minor infraction. That's a culture of defiance. That's not forgetting.
That's lack of institutional control.
It's not forgetting to log a recruiting call. That's institutional rot. That's the NCAA's top tier, quote, "you seriously undermine the integrity of college athletics" category. That's academic fraud, lack of institutional control, unethical conduct, and recruiting violations territory, aka it's huge. And yet, Michigan gets a penalty so soft it makes a targeting call look like a capital punishment. A 4-year probation, a $50,000 fine. Yes, that there's other monetary things in there, but really as you read the, what the penalties are, a $50,000 fine, some recruiting restrictions, and a financial penalty that, again, while technically steep, will be covered by one smug donor's checkbook with a wink and a "told ya." No postseason ban, no scholarship death spiral, no vacated national title, just a few accounting headaches and a couple of show cause orders for guys who already fled the NFL or high school sidelines. Meanwhile, let's rewind to July 23rd, 2012. Penn State was hit with a $60 million fine, a 4-year bowl ban, and a scholarship reduction so severe it nearly collapsed the program. And here's the kicker: that scandal wasn't even football related. It was a horrific off-field tragedy, no doubt, involving a former coach, no doubt, not brushing that under the rug. Horrible, egregious, terrible. It was not football related. The NCAA said of that, quote, "we're sending a message." Well, apparently that message expired. How about some more examples? SMU in 1987, the NCAA dropped the actual death penalty, canceled an entire season. Why? Because boosters were handing out cash like Halloween candy. Or Alabama in 2002, banned from bowls for 2 years, lost 21 scholarships, and got 5 years probation for recruiting violations. Not cheating to win, not stealing things illegally. It's not about whether stealing signs is legal or not. It's about how they did it, again, remind you. But Michigan, they ran an organized, multi-year advanced scouting ring. They bought tickets to opponents' games. They sent staffers to record sidelines. They deleted evidence. They lied to investigators and still got to keep their championship banner. And again, my biggest beef is, and still get to play for championships in the years to come. So what's the message now? That if you cheat on the field, you get a mulligan? But if your university fails off the field, you get nuked? This is like catching someone robbing a bank, and instead of jail time, you just ask them to return the money and promise not to do it again. Meanwhile, someone who forgot to file their taxes gets audited into oblivion. It's not just inconsistent, it's insulting. It was also, as we've said on the pod for years, totally predictable. Michigan is above the law. They have a lot of people whose pockets get lined when the wing helmets are on TV all the way into January. So, yep, I'm not saying, but I'm saying, because you couldn't find this as a headline on Fox Sports on their app. Gee, I wonder why. Fox makes a lot of money when Michigan plays. This wasn't just a violation, it was a mockery of fair play. And the NCAA just told every other program, if you're going to cheat, cheat big. We'll barely notice. That's it for my rant for now. If you're a fan of integrity, I'm sorry. If you're a fan of Michigan, congrats. I guess cheating does pay. All right, before we get into the flag, I got another sponsorship that just came in. Today's podiums were both brought to you by the NCAA's official rulebook, now available in invisible ink. Tired of your program being held accountable? Want to win big while pretending rules are just, quote, guidelines? With the NCAA's official rulebook in invisible ink, you'll enjoy 6 Level 1 violations with 0 postseason bans, a $50,000 fine easily covered by one smug booster's Venmo, and a compliance culture so relaxed it makes a frat party look like a board meeting. Act now and we'll throw in a complimentary, quote, "We did nothing wrong" banner for your stadium and all your fans. Perfect for distracting fans from the fact that your coach ghosted investigators and your staff ran a covert ops unit with binoculars and burner phones. The NCAA's official rulebook, because integrity is optional when your brand is strong.
Very well said. And forgot to add that Connor Stallings threw his evidence into a pond. So that's somewhere in the east side of Michigan. All right. We're back to a flag this week because we got football. It's college football season. NFL's a few weeks away. You take this one. This one's hilarious. I'm just going to say, all I'm going to say is this is a complete mess.
I got some more stuff to go with this in the mailbag, but I'm just going to say, what has the NFL? The flag is on the NFL. Has the NFL not learned from Bud Light, Target, and other brands? Go woke, go broke. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Minnesota Vikings, among other teams, the Vikings were first, have instituted male cheerleaders. Okay, so here's why the flag. NFL is a sport for men. Sure, women are fans, borderline fans if you include the Taylor Swift weirdos who watch the Chiefs because they might see Taylor Swift. But it is in and of itself a game for male fans. Red-blooded, straight male fans. Dudes that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, Jerry 80s, want to see good-looking young women as cheerleaders. Not some dudes in biker shorts with long hair looking like sunshine before he got his hair cut. So flag on the NFL because they apparently tried to make this a mandate, which I give the Lions credit for because Sheila Ford said, no, we're not going to do that. So at least there's some modicum of decency from teams, some standard, but I'm just appalled. Like, it's just disgusting. Like, have we no decency to instead appeal to the majority instead of trying to appeal to this minority to make them feel better about themselves? You want to be gay, that's your sin to live with. I don't care if you're gay, but don't shove it down my throat by putting them on the sideline of games and showing them to me on TV. I don't want to see Taylor Swift. I don't want to see your male cheerleaders. Get out of my face with it.
All right, let's get into 4 downs. We're back to that as well, probably for the foreseeable future here. First down is presented by North Sports Group. NSG is a boutique agency of experts with 30-plus years experience in sports sponsorship and much more. Learn more about them today at northsportsgroup.com. We are finally to the end of the season-long race for the FedEx Cup. Down to one tournament, Tour Championship next week. We just had the BMW. And lo and behold, the number one golfer is going to number one golfer, and that's Scottie Scheffler. Comes from 4 behind yesterday to win for the 18th time in his career, 5th time this year. I'm kind of running out of words for his play. Steady Eddie, just keeps on keeping on, and he broke Robert McIntyre, and he won a huge tournament. I heard this on the radio this morning. the gap between him and Rory McIlroy in the official world golf ranking points is the same as Rory McIlroy and Taylor Moore. Rory McIlroy is number 2. Taylor Moore is 103.
Wow. Then how is it possible that he can't win the Tour Championship, the FedEx playoffs this weekend?
If he loses?
Yeah, if he doesn't win, he doesn't win it.
Because it's basically whoever wins it wins the whole thing, which is really stupid.
It's not a race to the season's end.
Yeah.
It's a 3 weekend race. So either get it right or change the name of it and change the concept of it.
But he wins again. He's won big tournaments all year. The chip-in that he had in 17 was just... that was one of the better shots I've seen him hit. He doesn't really have a ton of signature shots because he just plays pretty. Well,
that's the thing is people always want to say, "Oh, he doesn't do anything." Like, then he does that. Like, I'm so tired of hearing people go, "It's boring. It's vanilla. He doesn't have any signature shots." He freaking wins. He's had 13 top 8s in a row,
17 straight,
which is the longest such streak since 1973. He's won, 5 of his last 10 starts?
Yep. 1.5 of his last 10 starts.
Let me say that again. 13 top 8s in a row. And he had 2 8th places in there, and the rest of them are really top 4s.
Imagine if they had sliced his hand open on a jar around Christmas. He'd probably have 7 or 8
and he did it this weekend. I hope everything's good with Ted Scott, but he did it this weekend with another caddy, so that blows that out of the water that he can't win without Ted Scott. He did it by coming from behind. He was 4 shots down going into the day. His mere presence makes people shit themselves. It is. It's like Tiger, but Tiger was intimidating because he was also an a-hole. People just know Scottie's going to hit fairways and hit greens, and he's going to put pressure on you. And if he starts dropping putts, you're in deep shit.
When he misses, he misses in the right spot every single time.
Yep. He just doesn't. When he makes a mistake, he follows it up with a birdie.
We're witnessing history. This guy's on his way to becoming one of the better ones to do it. I'm not going to say he's a top 10 player of all time, but within the next year, yeah, he could be if he wins.
He's one away from a Grand Slam. Yeah.
Maybe picks off. I think he could get to 8 or 9 majors. I do. I think maybe even 10 if he keeps playing this way.
Well, it's just more a matter of
how long is he going to play?
He doesn't need money, so he's playing for the fact that he treats, and he said it in his post game yesterday or his post round conference, is like, incredibly competitive with myself. Like, I want to make every shot the best shot I can make it. Like, he doesn't look back at the last shot, but he looks forward to the next shot and the shot that he's playing. And he's just, Tiger, yes, but other than that, we've not seen anything like it. And how about Phil? You want to rewind and take your foot out of your mouth on that one, Phil? At the beginning of the year, he called last year basically a joke. Cup. Wouldn't win. Blah blah blah.
He's
Phil,
just jealous.
Go back to paying off your gambling debts.
He's just jealous. But he's just sweet, man. Just so.
Well, that
good.
Course, I think they kind of ate it up a little bit more the last time, and this time, this is over the weekend. Over the weekend, it was not. Bob was 14 under after 2 rounds, and he finished less than that.
Yeah, he was 12. I think it was 14 and 12.
Yeah,
was the end scores there.
Yeah.
But it was a good tournament. McIntyre, he played really well, and then on the weekend kind of fizzled out a little bit.
Well, his putter came back to the law of averages. He putted the lights out the first 2 days, and it kind of came back.
He's a heck of a competitor, though. The Ryder Cup jawing when he pointed at a fan, that was kind of funny. On Saturday, probably not a guy you want to piss off. Ryder Cup, I think
probably break a bottle of scotch and try to cut you with it.
The fans in New York are going to be an issue, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
In a bad way. With their craziness, but Bob, good performance out of him. He jumps all the way up to number 3, I believe, in the FedEx Cup points. Maverick McNeely trying to get a little backdoor Ryder Cup captain's pick action in there. A really nice week for him. Finishes 3rd all by himself. Tommy Fleetwood, another good week.
And you felt good, but then you felt bad for Fowler because he got all the way to 25th and he didn't make the weekend.
Kind of fell off. Sam Burns also vying for one of those last Ryder Cup spots, had a nice week, T4. A guy that, I forget to mention this to you. Harry Hall has been one of the better Euro players the last year and a half. Mm-hmm. He's not in any list for anything with the Ryder Cup because they don't like him. Because Rory doesn't like him.
He's an Englishman,
and
too.
He's a very good putter.
I don't like his hat.
He seems like a nice guy. Yeah, he's a English Bryson DeChambeau, old Bryson. Victor Hovland gets his way into the Tour Championship. Ludwig played a little better. Cam Young continues his good play. Ben Griffin, you see what he said yesterday? He overdosed on creatine, and he was like had the tremors for the first 4 holes. He was 4. What was he? I think he was like 4 over through the first 4 holes, and he ended his round.
He had a 4-putt.
He ended his round with a 68, so he went 7 under in the last 15. Mm-hmm. So he had an interesting day. Because he said he missed. He had the 4-putt because his hands were shaking because he took too much.
I don't know if creatine reacts quickly in your body.
No, it
does.
There's
probably some other.
It definitely does. It definitely does. I've taken it. Here's English. He auto-qualified for the Ryder Cup. That's pretty cool. Same with JJ Spawn. We got Scheffler, JJ Spawn, Xander Schauffele, who's played pretty putrid golf.
I don't think he made the top 30.
Did not. Then Russell Henley, Harris English, and then who's the last one that I'm forgetting? No, I'll come to me in a second. Never mind. I'll think of it in a second, but good for them. The last few guys on this team are going to be. It's going to be a race, and it's going to be interesting to see what Keegan does if he puts himself in, if he goes with other guys. He's got about a week to figure that out because that's when the team's going to be official. Just coming down to the wire here. It's Bryson. He's the last spot. He's the last auto qualifier off of all majors, which is pretty impressive that he qualified.
Yeah.
Don't have anything else really for the BMW. Caves Valley was good, better than I remembered the last time. And they had a little weather delay, but it wasn't nothing too bad. Ended on time. We head to the Tour Championship at East Lake. I don't know why they are playing in Atlanta, Georgia at the end of August.
There we have.
Makes no sense. It's a swamp. It's a cool course. It's old school Donald Ross. Andrew Green revamped it a few years ago. Cool course, classic course. Some elevation changes. Some crazy par 3s over water. So Xander Schauffele's been a guy that has dominated that golf course. Scottie Scheffler's, he's done well there. Colin Morikawa, Rory McIlroy. But I've saved my best for last for my picks. It looks like I'm going to get the win this year in the season-long race for the Nothing Cup. I'm going with the number 1 player in the world, number 1 player in my heart, Scottie Scheffler. He's a beast. I haven't picked him yet. I saved the best for last.
I don't even know who I have available to pick. Rory? I don't know that I've taken him for any regular rounds.
Let's see if you have. No, you haven't.
Then I don't want Rory to win, but I guess he's the only other one who gives me a chance, so I'll go with Rory.
Yeah, nice pick. All right, so that's those are our picks this week. I don't think I have anything else golf wise. If you don't, we can jump to our second down in mailbag here.
Yeah, I don't actually have anything from Chris, but I have a few. I don't have any questions from Chris, but I've got like a text of his I wanted to read. I got a text from Dan I wanted to read, and I got some other things. Does Mitch have any?
Not to my knowledge. I can look really quick while you're.
Let me look at this. So I'm gonna first I'm gonna give a little shout out to Dan Gruen, an old coworker of mine and buddy of mine from my Amway days. Just celebrated, I think, like his 27th year there. Congrats, Dan. So he texted me something. I told him that I need to quote this week on our podcast, so I'm going to do that since I said I would. History will define them as cheaters. Are they still bragging about the Fab Five?
They destroyed the U of M reputation. Harbaugh will be judged the same way over time. Their smirk just shows their arrogance. Cheaters and the rest of the country knows it and gives them no credit. I can live with that. Think of the pride we have as MSU fans from the 2000 National Championship and stellar alumni. And he throws in there, like Mr. Steve Cherry, another co-worker of ours and buddy who'd walk on that team. Other than a few free lap dances at Omar's, it is a pretty clean program. Sorry, I just throw you under the bus like that, Cherry. But good point, Dan. Like, that's why, while it pisses me off, I try not to get too hung up on it because it's what we expected. And the bottom line is outside of the Walmart Wolverines, especially because actually Ryan and I played with a couple guys that were 2018 Michigan grads this weekend, got paired up with out at the Meadows at Grand Valley. And I mean, for a hot second it came up, they weren't smug about it. They were like, they didn't want any smoke. They didn't want to talk about it. It wasn't like pushing them to talk about it. I made some comment about, like, oh, I'm a Michigan State guy, you guys are Michigan guys, we won't talk about whatever happened. And they just kind of agreed, like, it was ridiculous, and they didn't say anything. So I think most Michigan fans that actually went to school there that have some common decency aren't going to fight back. So Dan, your point is well taken. Looking to see, I know Chris sent me something too. Maybe he sent it to both of us, Ryan. We were texting
it's
back
a good
and
text.
forth a little bit. Yeah, we were texting back and forth on, I think that was Friday. Here we go. Let's see here. First, like one of Chris's, riddle me this. Why did Penn State get hammered so hard, including postseason bans for Sandusky? Wasn't he dead before the scandal broke? I'm like, we were just going back and forth as Ryan kind of shared it out. And Chris says, the NCAA in college football is a complete waste of time. The, quote, playoff is a beauty pageant. Unlimited transfers equals caring about the couple dozen guys who stay their career, and then a slap on the wrist for major rules violations. Basically, you can pick 12 schools, and we all know who they are, and just put them in the playoff every year. If they don't fix it soon, 2 years or less, college football will be completely dead on arrival. I'm really close to canceling YouTube TV and saying, F it. I don't need to spend dollars every month to watch predetermined outcomes of, quote, fair competition. Spot on.
Very good.
A couple other things that I want to throw out there. Tigers, hit you with this, Ryan, but this kind of a startling number. The Tigers are now 41-4 and about to be 42-4 when they have 10 plus hits in a game.
Wow. Well, make sure you're hitting, boys.
They're undefeated after 8 games, if I heard that, or after 8 innings, if I heard that correctly. I mean, like, that means no blown saves in the 9th inning. They've blown saves before that, but not in the 9th inning. That's remarkable. Here's just one other kind of general mailbag thing I wanted to throw out there. Well, first, shout out to Mona, Mom. She wants us to do like a mellow song list. I think we should do that down the road. She's got a good head start for us. So, Mom, we will take a listen, or we will address that in a later podcast for sure. Then I wanted to throw this at you, Ryan. Okay, in the last week I've read these things. The Big Ten floats a 24 or 28 game playoff.
Gag me with a damn spoon.
The NFL, as I covered in the flag, has male, presumably gay cheerleaders. Now Major League Baseball wants to ditch the American League and National League and go to an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference and totally shake up the way baseball is when it is already ridiculous. Like, I don't mind a little bit of the crossover that they introduced into the game, but the fact that you're basically playing everybody throughout the year takes away all that surprise and that coolness. The fact that pitchers don't bat in the National League, all these other things that they've taken out of the game that were tradition. I like some of the changes they made, pitch clock and all that kind of stuff. But if this Manfred, their current commissioner, before he goes out in 2029, if he blows up baseball that way, he's going to ruin it. He wants to expand, possibly to Nashville and Salt Lake City. Not necessarily a bad thing. That's fine. But to turn it into the NFL, huge mistake.
Yeah, we know.
So throw that in there too. Live already split golf. The NBA is a woke joke. So what my question is for you, maybe it's rhetorical. Give me an answer if you have it. What sport is left that has any sanctity in it? The NHL, minor league baseball, banana ball, German shopping cart return championships.
The only thing I can think of is hockey. I mean,
I think we start our
college
own
football.
sports
College
network.
football's turning into NFL, dollar store version with the way that they run it. Stupid.
Yep.
Obviously, we're going to still watch it for now. But I mean, Chris said it. It was a great thing. I'm not going to quote it word for word, but why am I wasting money and time paying for these streaming services to watch something that's just stupid? Basically, it's a you know the outcomes. It's WWE.
It's not fan friendly.
No, Mike
we've
Valenti
talked about that
he's
for a
talked
while.
about it for the last couple of weeks after the ESPN NFL. You know that
It's entertainment.
state
It's not
thing.
sports.
It's not. It's turned into entertainment. It's not a game. It's not games anymore. It's entertainment. It's whoever's going to draw the most. It's all about the TV money. That's why these athletes, like, the salary cap continues to go up and up. Baseball, there's obviously not one, but in the other sports, it just keeps going up. The NFL, you know, Aiden Hutchinson, a guy that, you know, he's a good player, solid. He was doing good last year against guys that were average. He's going against like third string tackles, and he breaks his leg. He is waiting for Micah Parsons to get a contract so he can ask for $50 million a year as a freaking defensive end who he's good, but is he amazing? No. Is he Lawrence Taylor? No. Is he Micah Parsons? No.
Yeah.
It's all about the money. It's all about the
Right, and the fans pay, like we've talked about before. And
Pay
I
more
forgot.
for tickets, pay more
I forgot
for
to throw in there too.
concessions.
The NCAA still wants to push the NCAA tournament more than 68 teams. I guarantee that they'll keep it on the table. Like, they don't give two shits about us as fans.
No.
And they
That's
are gonna
evident.
they're gonna lose it because what do people do? You go woke, you go broke, and if sports continue to go woke, people will just find their own things to do.
Yeah, we can go golfing more in
You
the
know,
fall.
bowl and golf and whatever. Like,
Play pickleball.
I mean, it'll be a resurgence for these sports. Curling, I don't know. I might take it up as a winter sport. It's ridiculous.
We should do it. It sounds fun. All right, that is second down. And before we get to third down, a word from our presenting sponsor, Team Andrews Realty will help you find the home that fits your wants and needs, and they make the process simple and fun along the way. The Andrews have served thousands of clients for 30-plus years in the West Michigan area, and they're here to serve you today. Learn more at teamandrews.com. We get to the Big 10, the Big 18, if I may. We had the W's. I said that earlier, Washington, Wisconsin, and then we'll do the Spartans next week. Holy moly, I can't believe that week 0 is here. We'll do picks on the next down, but before that, let's hit the Huskies. Out in Seattle, Washington, one of the more beautiful settings for a stadium, sailgating Husky Stadium at Alaska Airlines Field, I think is what it is. That'd be a cool. I don't have any interest in going to Seattle due to the people there, but looks beautiful and it looks like a cool place to watch a football game.
It is.
Play some golf.
Seattle
out there,
itself
too.
is beautiful. It's just the people are freaking liberal weirdos.
Yeah, they're interesting folk over there, hippies. But Washington football, if you remember last season, Washington they were
No,
decent.
speaking of their home field, they've won 20 in a row.
Have they really? I did not know that. Oh, that's a good stat. Jed Fish came over last year after Kalen DeBoer left for Alabama. So his second year, they went 6-7 last year. Won some games. Against good teams, lost some close ones here and there. Did have some key losses. One of their better corners, Thaddeus Dixon, transferred to North Carolina. Kamori House, another linebacker, is going to North Carolina following Steve Belichick, their defensive coordinator from last year, to go coach with Daddy. Will Rogers, he was in college football for like 40 years. Quarterback, he's gone. Giles Jackson also was in college for like 40 years as a receiver. Gone. Carson Bruner, linebacker, one of their better ones, gone. Alfonso Tupatala, linebacker, gone. Do have some key returnees, though. Jonah Coleman, he is back. He was pretty solid last year. A little over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. Can catch the ball a little bit out of the backfield. He's a solid player for them. Damon Williams Jr., his dad, number 9 for Michigan State, punt return for a touchdown.
78% completion rate last year. Had a huge bowl game.
Very fun. He's little. We don't know how accurate he's going to be as the full-time quarterback, how big that arm is, but he can scramble with the best. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but pretty solid. He had 282 rushing yards last year, 2
what's
touchdowns.
his name? Murray for
Yeah, he's
kind of built like that.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. I'm interested to see how he's going to do. One of the better receivers in college football last year, Denzel Boston. He's back in 63 catches, 834 yards, in 9 touchdowns. Really solid, big receiver. He's back for one more year in Seattle. How about this for a name? He transferred from Arizona last year. Ephesians Prysock, cornerback, solid guy.
Omari Evans from Penn State.
He's okay.
He's a deep threat.
Yeah, he's not great. I don't put stock in any Penn State receivers. They hardly get used. Mikel Easton, he's back. And Isaiah Ward, good edge guy for him last year. Some newcomers. Washington, 27th overall recruiting class, 40th transfer class. They bring in 27 freshmen. The headline of their freshman class is another fun name, Zadrius Rainey Sale, 4-star linebacker. What is it with the double names? Rylan Dillard Allen, 4-star safety. Dylan Robinson, that's more normal, 4-star corner. These are all West Coast guys, by the way. And then 4-star receiver Chris Lawson. Those are kind of their best guys. From the portal, they bring in 19 new players. So decent amount of turnover there. Amari Evans, you already mentioned him. Takario Davis, good guy from Arizona. Carver Willis was one of the better offensive tackles.
Yeah, they gave up 39 sacks last year.
Yeah, they need it. And they were, before that, they were very, very good. Lost some guys to Alabama, lost some guys to the pros, whatever. But yeah, Washington, it's gonna be interesting. They have a first game of the season, Colorado State. They're been a decent program, nothing special, haven't really broken through. But they could give them trouble as we get into the schedule. Do you have anything else before we jump into it?
No, I mean, I think they're one of those teams that I think their ceiling might be certainly better than I have them predicted for. I think they could have another 500 year, right? Like, it depends on how Williams holds up, how some of these transfers come in. They've got to shore up some things. They were horrible on the road last year, 0-5.
Lots of travel.
Their schedule isn't bad. We'll get into that in a minute. Play by or game by game. I think they have some potential. I don't think they'll be at the top of the Big Ten, but they could be in like the second tier for sure.
Yeah. So I mentioned Colorado State. I'm getting a win there.
Yep, same.
Then play the powerhouse of UC Davis.
Yeah, win.
Have them win that. Then very early earliest by in the
before the Apple Cup
at Washington State. They beat them last year, did they not? Washington State. I think
so.
They beat Washington last year. They're going to Pullman, but I have them winning. I don't think Washington State's going to be great. Lost their coach, lost their quarterback, their offensive coordinator, and a lot of guys left with them. So have them winning that. So they're starting off 3-0. Then Ohio State comes to town. This is an interesting game for Ohio State as they're traveling way up to the Pacific Northwest.
They'll have already been tested with Texas.
Got them losing to Ohio State.
I do too.
I think it could be a good game though. Jed Fish he's a very good coach. I think he's underrated.
Yeah.
Then they go all the way across the country. Got to play Maryland. Maryland's going to be terrible. We've already discussed that. I've been winning that.
Yep.
Then
little payback game against Rutgers.
Yeah, last year they missed a lot of field goals.
It was on a
Friday night. Yeah, the kicker that just was interesting looking. He was terrible. Win for them against Rutgers. So that 5-1, 5-1. Good start. Then they go to Michigan, where they lost a few years ago when they played there. I have them losing to Michigan, but I think they can.
They can win that game. That's a winnable game, but I also have them losing that.
Definitely a swing game. So that's a loss, 5-2. Then home against Illinois. I think this is where they trip up again. I think Illinois is going to be very solid, but I could also see this being flipped. But I have them losing.
Yeah, I could see a flip here, but I actually have them beating Illinois.
Yeah, this is their hard spot. Then they have a bye week. Then they go to Wisconsin. I have them losing that.
Another winnable game, but I also have them losing that.
Yeah, they have that 3-game stretch right there is kind of their make or break to see if they can be a dark horse playoff team or not. And then Purdue at home, it's easy win.
Doesn't even count.
UCLA. I think you had them losing that last week. Yeah, I have them beating UCLA.
Again, another one that I think they could win.
And then they host Oregon, and I have them losing that, but I think they could beat Oregon. Like, it's going to have been a tough spot for
Wouldn't
Oregon.
surprise me if they beat Ohio State or Oregon. They're not going to beat them both. All that is good for me for 7-5, 4-5 in the Big Ten, but I could see them getting 9-3. I could see them upsetting Ohio State or Oregon. I could see them beating Michigan. I could see them losing to Illinois. I could see them beating Wisconsin. I could see them beating UCLA, some of these games. So I think it's all going to kind of depend. Can they keep Damon Williams clean? Because it's always a worry when they get little guys. If they take a couple big hits, what does that do? And what do they have in the backup? So I think I'm higher on Washington at 7-5 than I am. I've got as a recap, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in the Big Ten at 7-5.
I got them 8-4, 5-4,
and a couple 6-6s and a couple 8-4. So I could definitely see Washington being kind of in that top part of the second tier of the Big Ten, or I could see them being right smack in the middle. It depends on a couple of those things that they have to shore up from last year.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's going to be interesting to see how they do. Definitely keep an eye on the first few weeks to see how it goes. And that early bye will it help them? Will it hurt them? We will see. And now we travel all the way back across the country to Madison, Wisconsin, where Luke Fickell's in his 4th season. He has been severely underwhelming.
Snapped a 22-game bowl streak.
500,
22-year bowl streak.
13-13. Actually, just 3rd season. Why do I say it's his 4th? It's his 3rd. His biggest mistake, I hate to say it, was his wife saying no to Michigan State. I think that he would have done really well at Michigan State.
He would have been a really good follow-up to...
And they poo-pooed it, and it's bitten them in the ass. They had that good year at Cincinnati in 2021. Obviously went to the playoff, got smoked by Bama. Then a good year, and then Wisconsin's like, yeah, we got to do it. I think that he missed his window. And I think that after this, he'll just go be a coordinator somewhere else or go coach in the American or Mountain West, something like that. This is a make or break year for him. Hot seat year. 5-7, 3-6. That's not good enough at Wisconsin. That's a proud program that Barry Alvarez took over when it was a complete dumpster fire. He built it up, and they've been mid since 2018, 2019.
Well, here's the thing. Here's how you know that he knew and knows what's going on. As much ballyhooed, he had SMU's offensive coordinator that came in, very spread.
They had
very
Longo, who's an air raid guy.
Wisconsin's
not an air raid place.
No. Wisconsin, here's your telling stat. Wisconsin is 12-0 when rushing for 150-plus yards under Fickell, 1-13 when they don't. That's where their bread is buttered, and their new offensive coordinator, who came from Baylor, is a wide zone run scheme guy that runs play action. And that is what Wisconsin thrives on. Like, these schools that try to reinvent themselves to keep up with the Joneses, it doesn't work. Like, Michigan State did that with John L. Smith when they were always a run program. What did D'Antonio do? He got us back to being a play action, pro style offense. Like, I get it. You might not get the kids that, that want to be those type of players in the flash and dash. You're also going to get kids who stay because they're going to develop in a program. So there's something to be said about just being what you're good at. Butter your bread where you need to. Keep it in-house. Keep it in front of you. Do what your program does well. There is nothing wrong in today's day and age. 9-3, 10-2 gets you a shot at the playoffs.
That gives you a shot, and that's all you can ask for, to be one of those 12 teams in the playoff. But yeah, some key losses. This was very well documented in the news. Xavier Lucas, good defensive back for them. The guy that was Wisconsin trying to sue or whatever for leaving because of some NIL thing. Xavier going to Miami. Shocking. Miami's involved in some money BS. Lost their best running back from last year. Pretty sweet name, Tawee Walker. He had 864 yards, 10 touchdowns last year. He transferred to Cincinnati, of all places. That's kind of interesting. Will Paulding, solid receiver, transferred to Notre Dame. Hunter Wohler. They always have a really good linebacker. He's the best one from last year. He's gone. guys that are back. Darian Dupree, pretty solid running back. He had 317 yards last year. Decent pass catcher. He's young. He's coming back for them. Preston Zachman, good safety. Christian Alidro, linebacker. They don't have a ton coming back. Some of the better guys that they've gotten. 26 overall recruiting class, 14 transfer. That 14 transfer class is really because they're bringing in 22 guys. That is a lot. Their best recruit, Mason Posa, 4-star linebacker. Nicholas Clayton, 4-star edge. Jalen Williams, 4-star defensive lineman. Logan Powell, that's more where their bread's butter. Offensive line, 4-star. Hardy Watts, 4-star offensive lineman, 6'6", 290, big fella. Some key transfers coming in. Jay Vayer Suggs from LSU, Tyrese Fearby from Kentucky, and their quarterback coming in, who is, this makes no sense, Billy Edwards, who's more of a scrambling quarterback, not a pro style. He was at Maryland before. He's not great, but that's whatever. I mean, last year they kind of struggled at the quarterback position. Tyler Van Dyke was supposed to be the guy. He got hurt. And then it was Braden Locke. He threw 13 touchdowns, 10 picks. He's gone. Not even on the roster anymore. Shocking. So we're going to see what happens with Wisconsin. Like I said, this is make or break. This is where the rubber meets the road for Luke Fickell and company. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's going to go pretty terribly for Wisconsin this year.
They have a brutal schedule. They might have, I have the whole grid in front of me, but they might have the hardest schedule in the Big Ten.
They probably do.
When you throw in there a road trip in the preseason too. I mean, they start with Miami of Ohio on a Thursday.
Who's not bad.
They
were good last year.
Wouldn't surprise me if that's a Maction win over the Big
always
Ten,
struggle.
but I've got Wisconsin. I've got Wisconsin
winning that. Then Middle Tennessee, who's been, they're okay. They're not. Derek Mason's actually the coach, the old Vanderbilt coach.
Nice.
Then they go down to Tuscaloosa.
Railed by him at home last year. It's going to be worse this year.
It's not going to be good. Have them losing that one, so they're 2-1. Then they play Maryland.
Billy's going to get his own.
Could be a get right game.
Yep.
Have them winning that. Then they have a bye. Then they go to Michigan.
Winnable game, but I have them losing.
Have them losing that. Home against Iowa.
Losable game, but I have them winning.
Have them losing to Iowa.
And they have Ohio State at home. Those are two pretty good home games in a row.
Losing to Ohio State.
They give Ohio State fits at home. Traditionally, it'll probably be a night game, but I don't think they have enough firepower. I also have them losing.
So at this point, I've got
they go Iowa.
It's horrible.
I mean, Michigan's not going to be that good this year, but they
still though you
name program why they go Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, Oregon in a row.
Then they have have them losing to Oregon. Yeah. Then they have a bye. Then they play Washington,
which I have them winning.
Have them winning as well. That's a tough game. They go to Indiana, have them
losing that.
Go to Illinois.
I actually have
home against Illinois. Have them losing that.
I actually have them winning that, and remember, I have Illinois going 9-3, so I have Wisconsin beating them.
Then they go to Minnesota for Paul Bunyan's
and I have them losing that.
Have them losing that. For me, that's good for 4-8, 2-7. The Big Ten. See you, Luke.
I have 6-6, 3-6. I think they could get to 8-4, but I also think 4-8 is very realistic.
Yeah, that's crazy. And we were talking about hard schedules. I heard this is South Carolina's schedule this year. How about this for a tough one? Neutral against Virginia Tech, home against South Carolina State, home against Vanderbilt, at Missouri, home against Kentucky, at LSU, home against Oklahoma, home against Bama, at Ole Miss, at Texas A&M, home against Coastal, home against Clemson.
That's
pretty
tough.
good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. All right, that's all of our previews aside from Michigan State. We will get to them next week. Let us know if you agree, don't agree, don't care, whatever. But we've done. This is fun exercise to go through all these teams and see what they're going to be made of, and get a little familiar with them here come 2025. And without further ado, let's hit it with our first pick'em of the year, week 0. We're going to be live this week, noon, from Dublin, Ireland. It makes no sense. This game's Farmageddon. Iowa State, the Fighting Bill Norrises,
like potato farm,
playing against the Kansas State Wildcats. Their quarterback, it looks like a pube fro version of Sunshine from Remember the Titans. He's a turnover machine. Give me the Cyclones, Iowa State, Rocco Beck, Matt Campbell, good defense.
Pick them or
straight
spread?
up. This spread's 2.5 in
right.
Kansas State's favor, but I think it's gonna be Iowa State. I like Matt Campbell. I like their defense, and close to the playoff last year.
Yep.
I think they're gonna start off with a nice dub.
Give me Iowa State as well.
All right, we go staying in the state of Kansas for one of the teams. Fresno State visits Lawrence, Kansas to play in the new stadium that Kansas just built. The spread here in this one's 12. Keep in mind, Kansas's quarterback, Jalen Daniels, he's about older than me. He's probably 28 years old.
Forever.
He's been hurt so many times. That's probably why he's in college. He's probably gotten medical exemption after exemption. When he's healthy, he's very, very good. And Lance Leipold, very good offensive coach. And Fresno State, they're not great. I got Kansas winning this game like 28-14, so I got them covering.
Rolling spread, okay.
Spread
I'll go.
12, yeah.
12's a little high for a kind of an unknown at the beginning of the season,
Very
but I'll
unknown,
take it. I'll take Kansas in the points.
All right, we go to Bowling Green, Kentucky, home of Kathy Gam. Western Kentucky hosts Sam Houston State, the Bearcats, coached by none other than Phil Longo. First year there, running an air raid system. Western Kentucky, they've been a really potent offense in college football for a long time under Tyson Helton. 10 is the spread here in favor of the Hilltoppers, the Blobs. I'm going with the Blobs to cover this. I don't think Sam Houston State's any good. They're pretty new to single A. 1A football.
Best mascot except for Sparty, the Blob.
In one final game on Saturday, and there's actually another one, but it's a F versus an FCS opponent. We're not going to do that one. How about this for a little West Coast battle? The Stanford Cardinal travel west to play the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors at whatever it's not Aloha Bowl anymore, which is stupid. Apparently they're going to bring it back. That's a mistake that they ever got rid of it.
Well,
I think it's condemned.
The stadium was condemned. It was
well, who cares? Bring it back. I love that place. I love the Hawaii Bowl, whatever, the Aloha Bowl. Hawaii's actually favored in this game. Stanford, they're coaching with none other than Frank Reich as an interim coach.
They have an interim coach?
Yeah, because they fired their coach for that, because ESPN smeared him.
Of course.
For whatever.
Should do it, I know.
The Civil War general, Andrew Luck, is their GM. I've got Hawaii winning this thing. Timmy Chang is their coach, so you know they're going to have a high-powered offense. Former quarterback in the early 2000s, before Colt Brennan, the original RIP. Should have won the Heisman whatever year that was instead of Sam Bradford, but whatever. Didn't because he's at Hawaii.
I'll go on a limb and pick different. I think Stanford will go in there and surprise. I think it's an easier trip than for somebody further west, but I think Stanford wants to kind of rebuild, and I'll take them in a mild upset.
Michigan State, we lost to Hawaii at Hawaii, did we not?
Yes, in a 12th game before you played 12 games in the season.
Shocking that we lost.
Shootout.
Shocking. Who's their coach? June Jones. He wore a Hawaiian shirt.
Yep.
Yeah, a mustache. We played him the next year and smoked him. I remember that. That was like 04, 05, probably around there.
Yeah, right around there.
All right, that's our picks this week. And I have a lot for next week. A lot of Big Ten games. There's some doozies. And by the way, Kansas State, Iowa State, ranked matchup. We got one in week 0 for the first time since 2002.
Nice. Watch that after we play golf.
Yep, noon on Saturday. Looking forward to seeing that on the television. All right, let's sprint this thing home. If you have not seen them, look them up. Have you seen the new Ryder Cup garb for this year for Team USA?
I have not. I know they unveiled it today.
Oh, dear Lord. Where's my phone?
Is it ugly?
Well, as I pull this up, I'm just going to... It's Ralph Lauren, if that
usually
tells you anything. I don't know why, but why? How does that...
Are they assless chaps?
They might as well be.
I feel like they overcomplicate it. It's like, we're red, white, and blue. Keep it simple.
Yeah, they're awful. They just came out these today.
Nothing could be as bad as Brookline. Those shirts were
hideous. They look like Civil War. I hate these. If you're
they're not horrible. I thought they were going to be way worse than that.
Horrible.
That's not
They're
great.
horrid. I hate that. And then look at this thing. the bomber jacket for them. That's awful.
Stupid.
I've rated it 1 out of 10. If you haven't, you look it up. I hate the collar. It looks disgusting. They're horrible. They did a bad job. I'm not buying any of that crap. We kind of talk about sports media personalities outside of the podcast. Who's the worst right now?
Wait, say it again.
Who's the worst sports media personality? Mine's Stephen A. Smith. I hate that guy.
I just don't like most sports personalities, period.
Oh, terrible.
Anybody from ESPN. Anybody from ESPN.
Rich Eisen's hosting SportsCenter again?
It's a bad career move for him. I always liked Rich Eisen. Yeah.
Well, he's a Michigan guy.
Yeah, but I thought he did a good job.
Who's an MSU player who was really good in college that never panned out in the pros, but you thought that he would?
Football or basketball?
Football.
Huh, that's a good question.
I think there's a lot that come to mind for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's some obvious. Well, okay, so he didn't have a bad pro career, but like Lorenzo White wasn't what I thought he probably would have been, or what I thought he could have been in the NFL.
He got hurt, didn't he?
Probably. I mean, it's hard, right? Like Michigan State's had a lot of really good receivers. Then you get a guy like Tony Banks, who was okay as a quarterback at Michigan State, who actually had a pretty decent NFL career. Brian Hoyer was a good quarterback at Michigan State. He was a lifelong backup in the NFL.
A lot of money.
A lot of guys like that. Probably like Lorenzo White, I would say, probably is the most like outstanding player that was decent. Percy Snow, same. He was not bad in the pros, but he wasn't great. I'm probably missing somebody, but Charles Rogers, he got hurt and then things went downhill. So, there's some busts out there. Mine's
Javon Ringer.
He's another one. Yeah.
He's a workhorse back, maybe too much wear and tear in college, who knows. And last and certainly not least, if college sports has a huge fallout, like we talked about, the playoff and all this junk WWE style, what sport are we going to replace watching it with? We might have to go a little F1, maybe get in NASCAR.
I'm telling you.
Say that facetiously.
I mean, and even it probably has its things that I'm just not familiar with, but the NHL might be the cleanest of all of them.
Yeah, probably that, or hockey, or like racing, or tennis. Yeah. I don't know, something where it's not tainted. All right, that's our 237th episode. We appreciate you guys listening. That was a fun one to do. Looking forward to the games this week. Enjoy them, and we'll be back next week with some preview of Michigan State and some preview of some Week 1 games, which we are ever inching slightly closer to. 11 days from Michigan State football. Almost there.
Yeah, I usually like to throw historical quotes, or I'll look up my Chicken Soup for the Soul inside basketball book for a lot of my quotes, but this week I had to take something fresh. This is from Peter Burns. At least now we can finally all agree that Michigan's title in 2023 was built on cheating. The NCAA, the Big Ten, and even Michigan themselves admitted they cheated and broke the rules. Title tainted.